freeze. One more clap. New wave, please. Get it, baby. Get that new wave. Real loud clap. All y'all freeze. One more clap. One more clap. Bust y'all, please. Real big clap. Everybody freeze. One more clap. New wave, please. Get it, baby. Get that new wave.
ACP, you see this?
Look, if it ain't official Dana J, Prima Donna News, I don't even want to see it.
Though we don't know what tomorrow will bring us, let's live today. I'm saying just in case. Although we don't know what tomorrow will bring us, let's live today. I'm saying just in case. Dear world, I'm writing this letter in an attempt to make things just a little better. This is about living through life's stormy weather, because the truth is that we're not gonna live forever, and that's my point. Well, let me start with my boy that's doing 15 in a joint. A man, he could hoop, but he loved the street life. Could've went pro, instead he chose the street life. He turned rapper and wrote about the street life, but still could not make it out the street life. And one day he bought a Glock. Wait, now page number 2 will take you to another block. A man and his wife can't get along, all they do is fight. Both too stubborn to apologize, and sometimes it gets so bad they hope each other die. And one day she couldn't take it no more, so she decided to run out of the door. She jumped in the car and swerved off in a rage, and baby, I'm sorry was all over his stage. Oh, we don't know what tomorrow will bring us, let's live today. I'm saying just in case. Now that my homie done bought himself a gun, he stuck up some liquor stores, now he's on the run. Do anything to avoid the police, now he's strung out on drugs and life is getting deep. To anyone, he would do anything, give him the chance and he'd steal anything. Next thing he did really screwed up his life, but first let's go back to the husband and wife. Now he's on the phone with his pastor, and she's on the phone with her mother. He tells his pastor, the woman is driving me crazy. Then swore up and down, she's not the same lady. She says, Mama, the man has been treating me so bad ever since we found out that I couldn't have babies. Then Mama says to her, girl, hold on. Pastor says to him, be strong. Oh, we don't know what tomorrow will bring us. So let's live today. I'm saying just in case. Although we don't know what tomorrow will bring us, let's live today. I'm saying just in case. Now there's a warrant out for my boy's arrest, cause he done went and stabbed someone in the chest. Man, them drugs just got him breaking all of the rules now. His face is posted up and all over the news now. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, the husband and wife are starting to break down. She says to Mama, maybe I ought to call him. And Mama said, now that's the spirit. He says to Pastor, maybe I should call and say I love her. He say, I'm sure she loves to hear it. Then she gets a call on the other line. It's the doctor saying your test results came back fine. Congrats, girl, you're pregnant. Then she cries, finally a miracle sent from heaven. Now meanwhile, the other side of town, all hell done broke loose and it's going down. Cops chasing Reginald all over town. He's running every red light and driving real wild. Now meanwhile, and this ain't fiction, here is where I need y'all to pay close attention. She's so happy, she calls her husband up. He says, I'm sorry, baby, just as soon as he picks up. She says, I'm sorry too, and I got good news for you. Steve, I'm pregnant and on my way home to you. He jumps for joy, scream hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. While Reginald is still chased by police. She takes the highway, it'll get her there much faster. Reginald on the skyway, chase lasting forever. With the helicopters right over his head, with the search porch lights on him. Oh man, oh man. Now he starts panicking. Rachel's driving, so excited she's not realizing that just a block away, a man is on the run, while the husband's at home praying for a son. And the policeman is screaming for the call. Rachel calls her husband and says, I'm getting close. He says, honey, I'm fixing up something special in the kitchen. And at the same time, Reginald makes a stupid decision. He turns down a one-way street. Then Rachel notices this car coming and yells out, out of control, a senseless mission. Next thing you know, a head-on collision. No, we don't know what tomorrow will bring us. Let's live today. I'm saying just in case.
But I know that there's more for you, more for us.
Children, rain all night long. Didn't it all, oh my Lord. Didn't it rain? Didn't it rain, children? Rain all night long. Didn't it all? Didn't it all? Oh, my Lord. Didn't it rain?
You can't run from it. You can't deny it. You can't pass it off. It's your call. God knew what he was doing. He knew who he was calling. And he expertly and intricately detailed every aspect of your life, your being, your persona, your psyche, your physicality, everything about you, from the texture of your hair to the color of your eyes to the way that you laugh to the fingerprint on your thumb. And everything is connected to your calling. And until you walk into the fullness of the thing that you were created for, you will find yourself frustrated. You're called.
This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge sanctioned by the U.S. government. Weapons of Class 4 and lower have been authorized for use during the purge. All other weapons are restricted. Government officials of ranking 10 have been granted immunity from the purge and shall not be harmed. Commencing at the siren, any and all crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 continuous hours. Police, fire, and emergency medical services will be unavailable until tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. when the purge concludes. Blessed be our new founding fathers and America, a nation reborn. May God be with you all.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
Are they a threat to democracy? Yes. Are they going to take our rights away? Yes. Are they going to put people's lives in danger? Yes. Are they going to endanger the planet by not dealing with climate change? Yes.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
She's a genuine danger to American security. they're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
We have to preserve our democracy, or speak out against lies and hate.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is.
President Biden has been clear-eyed about the threat that the former president represents to our democracy. Donald Trump is an existential threat to our democracy and our most fundamental freedoms.
Kamala needs to stop saying that President Trump is a threat to democracy. It's now being received by some unhinged people as a call to action. Enough is enough.
Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go into it. Y'all know I had to put that out there. Listen, man, if y'all wondering what's wrong with my background, is nothing. I just want to let you know one thing. You are no longer in the Matrix. Listening and dealing with Dana J, you will have to think. You will have to put your thinking caps on. I am not here to persuade you to join a party. I am not here to persuade you to like any candidate. I'm not here to persuade you to do anything out the ordinary that you wouldn't ever do. I'm just here to bring you the truth. I'm just here to bring you the truth. Now, you chose to hang in with the best person ever. I am your favorite blogger's blogger. I get it. Whether he is and she is male or female, they watch me from time to time. They might not have admitted to you, but I'm tuned in on their broadcasts because they watching me. With that being said, I want to say thank you for joining me on this late night joint. I'm going to try not to be too long, but I got some videos to show. I got some truth to put out there. And I'm going to say this. If anybody want to know where I stand, and if that deters you from listening or watching me, leave. I don't care if I have 2 people. I'm going to still preach the same, say the same, and be the same. If I got 5,000, I'm going to do the same, preach the same, be the same. I understand everybody is not going to like your topics. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to touch on Diddy. But before I go Diddy way, I'm going to be honest with you. Before I go Diddy way, you got to understand, Diddy got 16 pages of bullshit. I'm going to put it out there. And because I said I'm going to read it to y'all, I'm going to keep my word. 16 pages. But before we get to Diddy, there's something serious happening right now. And what I'm going to say to you is, if you are a government employee and you feeling this, I feel sorry for you. I sympathize and empathize with you. If you are a true Republican, you already know what's going on. If you are a rhino, hell with you. If you are a liberal, aka libturd, if you are a Democrat, I feel sorry for you. Because you're on the wrong side of justice. And it's being shown all day today. However, I'm going to cover the important part first. And the important part is the government shutdown. The government shutdown. And the reason why I'm going to cover this part first, because a lot of people do not know who they are. And it's sickening. Because all day today, I'm defending Donald Trump's stance on shutting the government, or should I say allowing the government to shut down. Without threatening anybody, without doing anything. And people was like, oh my God, it's the Republican fault. It's not. I had somebody come and tell me, oh, I'm ashamed, Dana, because you're a clown in their clown show, in their circus.
And I said, so you mad because I'm telling the truth? Oh, how you telling the truth when the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and everything else? There's a thing called the filibuster. And in order for the Republicans to just strong arm and push this through so we wouldn't have a government shutdown, we would need 7 Democrats to go along with the filibuster or to join the filibuster. There were no Democrats. So once again, who started the shutdown? And I have military friends and family that's affected by this. So I took this extremely personal. Now, the problem is the Democrats ran out here and said, oh, it's the Republican fault. This. The Republicans never said nothing. We sat back and waited. And the reason why we waited, because we want to see who's going to run with what lie. Hey, Darlene. We want to see who's going to run with what lie. And I'm sad to say that I got a lot of friends on Facebook and other platforms that are damn right stupid and ignorant. Because if you want to know what the shutdown is about, it's not about what you think it's about. What up, Judah? This is about political stance, muscle, and whatever else you want to add. So I'm standing with Donald Trump. Shut this thing down. Y'all thought people was lying when Chuck Schumer said we want $1.5 trillion to provide free health care to illegal immigrants. Hold on. What about the American people? And that $1.5 trillion, we want you to repeal border security measures passed through the working family tax cuts. Hold on. What about the American people? We want you to put illegal immigrants and Democrats back on Medicaid rolls and all that. Hold on. What about the veterans and the American people? We want you to remove the work requirements so everybody, including all illegals, can get free health care. Wait a minute. What about the Americans? We want you to resume DEI projects in foreign countries. Hold on. What about the Americans? That's all I keep saying. It's what about the Americans? Do anybody care about America first? EJ, don't worry about it. I said for you, brother. So Russ Vought just dropped the hammer on Chuck Schumer and Timu Hakeem Jeffries and said $18 billion in New York funding is now frozen. The Hudson Tunnel Project and the 2nd Avenue subway extension, the crown jewels of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries' New York empire, is suddenly on ice. Why? Because Vought made it crystal clear federal dollars will not be spent on projects warped by unconstitutional DEI mandates. For decades, Democrats have treated the federal treasury like their personal piggy bank. They demand billions for infrastructure in New York City, then quietly lace the contracts with race-based quotas, equity requirements, and woke nonsense that has nothing to do with pouring concrete or laying steel. It has always been about power, patronage, and ideology. And every time taxpayers from Iowa to Ohio foot the bill, not the same, not this time. Volt's move landed like a thunderclap. Billions that Schumer and Jeffries were counting on just vanished overnight. Projects they bragged about back home are now stalled because their gravy train runs on DEI fuel. And when the watchdogs furloughed by the shutdown cannot rubber stamp the spending, the money does not move. Cue the outrage. Governor Kathy Hochul is already screaming about political payback. Schumer and Jeffries are panicking because they know their constituents will blame them when the subway extension stalls and the Hudson Tunnel grinds to a halt. But let us be clear. This is not sabotage. This is accountability. This is what happens when you build billion-dollar projects on an unconstitutional foundation. The left has grown comfortable with shutdown theater. They threaten chaos. They point fingers and then quietly cash their checks while the rest of America pays the price. But this time, the script flipped. Voight did not blink. He froze their funding and told them, if you cannot build without woke ideology, you do not get to build at all. And that is why this moment matters. It is proof that conservatives do not have to sit back and complain about waste and woke overreach. With the right leadership, we can choke off the slush funds, dry up the equity mandates, and put America first in how our funding is spent. So let the Democrats howl. Let the media rage. At the end of the day, $18 billion is locked up. New York's political machine just got kneecapped. And Schumer and Jeffries are left explaining to their voters why their pet projects are stalled. The message is clear. Unleash Russ Vought. Netflix has also plummeted. Who would have ever thought Netflix? Hold on. Who would have ever thought that Netflix would have plummeted? So with that being said, I'm gonna show the first video. And the first video goes like this.
$1.4 billion of free motherfucking money to the immigrants for health care. And if not, if the other side don't agree with it, they talking about shutting down the motherfucking government. Why the fuck do you bitches fight so hard for everybody but your own motherfucking people? I'm sorry, those folks weren't supposed to be here to begin with. I don't really give two flying fucks. What about us? What about us motherfuckers who struggle to pay for health care? And even though we pay a fortune on our motherfucking health care, it still ain't enough. It still the fuck ain't enough. You still got to come out of pocket for hella shit. Motherfuckers dying because they can't afford health care around this bitch. Are you fucking kidding me? You be dying and have to be motherfucking airlifted. You know how much that shit costs? I saw a lady post her bill. It was almost $60,000 motherfucking dollars. That's what we deal with when it comes to health care. Sorry, not motherfucking sorry. They got to fend for their goddamn self. So the Democrats want to give away $1.4 billion of free motherfucking money to...
So what y'all have to realize is the misconception and the lie has always been that we have money. There is no money in the United States. The corporation. And I know some people going to say, I spend money every day. They ain't a lie. He don't know what he talking about. I spend money. You do? Do you? Do you really spend money? So I want to know how many U.S. citizens we have out there. Because I keep hearing people talk about, oh no, I'm a U.S. citizen. Check this out. And then come holler at me and let me know if you're a citizen.
We've had our identities and our birthright stripped from us. All right. Listen, I'm going to talk.
Hold on.
We've had our identities and our birthright stripped from us. All right. Listen, I'm going to talk about a few different things, but it's all to help you understand the one big picture. Okay. So look, the term African American is a federal government term describing property.
Bingo.
Listen to me clearly. Describing property, not a race of people. Property has no race classification. Property
Bingo.
has no human rights.
Bingo.
For example, Trayvon Martin was considered property owned by the United States of America, which is a corporation. He had no human rights. African American is a 14th Amendment citizen made property by Executive Order 13037, signed into law by Bill Clinton.
By who?
In 2010, a so-called African American black discovered that his family bloodline was type O, like many dark people living in Memphis, and his family descended from Mississippi, Tennessee, Arkansas regions, which is the historic homeland to hundreds of thousands of dark-skinned indigenous people who the Spanish invaders called Indians or Indios. Unfortunately, because they were dark, the Indians, the U.S. legally, unlawfully classified each as a Negro. So yes, these identities were given to us that fed further into the illusion of the reality we live in. We are not black people. We are not African Americans. All right, I'm gonna go more into it. Let me readjust. The Union State Society classifies them as illegal aliens. This de facto government defines illegal aliens as people who sneak over the borders and do not register with the government. They either have a relative or a friend cover for them and find a method to obtain falsified documents / paperwork relative to the jurisdictional claims of the United States Union. The United States Society has a de facto authority over the piece of land now called the United States of America and over the primitive people who are in the denationalized state with the brands Black, colored, Negro, Afro-American, African-American, Latino, Puerto Ricans, Indian, West Indian, etc.
Bingo.
Classified as illegal aliens often receive benefits as a result of what the foreign juristic United States of America Corporation, with its headquarters in England, classifies as false identification / paperwork. 14th Amendment artificial person. This is the status. It's so hard to read with my head in a way. Fuck. All right, so look, y'all just pause and read that real quick.
This is the status category that the United States of America Society uses to classify the Aboriginal Moors of Northwest Eastern America. I believe that's what it say. Hold on.
So with this being said, we all have been denationalized. We have no actual nationality if we want to consider ourselves a citizen. Okay, because in order to be considered a citizen, you must have a common share. You must share a commonwealth. What commonwealth do we share?
Boom.
Our identities.
And I'm gonna play that again later. Boom. So once again, when I was trying to tell people that, and you know what they said? He's a conspiracy theorist. But I see everybody waking up. Canada is not part of this land, Judah. But I see we waking up. Now, I wasn't going to do this. But let me wake you up a little more. If my brother Shank Rock was here, he'd be like, cook, Dana. So in Shank Rock's absence, I'm going to cook. Because what y'all don't know is that I hold the cards. That's why people listen to me. Because I'm not here to beef with nobody. I'm just here to spread the truth. And if you see what it says, in response, United States Corporation Company, please look up the case number, which is 20-40375-KKS. United States Bankruptcy Court, Northern District of Florida, Tallahassee Division. Please look it up. And look what it say, alleged debtor. Order to show cause why Chapter 11 and voluntary petition should not be dismissed. Why petitioning parties should not have to post a bond. And whether petitioning parties should be sanctioned pursuant to Bankruptcy Rule 9011 and 11 U.S.C. 105A. Please go look that up. So when Donald Trump posted this, everybody said, that's when everybody really started going after him. Again, I've been saying it the longest time. They call Donald Trump a racist because he trying to give us the game. But we too stupid because we want to be black people. We want to be African-American people, something that we never was, never intended to be, and never should be, or never should classify yourself as. So let's listen straight from the White House on May the 4th, 2020. This is the post that shook America. It says, U.S. federal person, Roger Allen Moore, /RAAJ, Amex, Moore, Rafa L. Taxpayer identification, / descendant social security number 126-56-2303. Watch this. If you go to look it up, it don't exist. Why? Because Roger Allen Moore is 3,000 years old. So what is that telling you? That he is one of the original Moors that everybody was scared about. So the notes say, see United States Department of the Treasury, / Internal Revenue Service Forms 2848, power of attorney and declaration of representative. And 56, notice of fiduciary agent. Pause. Who showed y'all these forms before? Who showed y'all these forms before? I believe I'm the only one that put these forms up here. While folks talk about, oh, go reclaim your birthright. No, I'm the one that showed you how to do it. I'm the one that showed you the forms to use. I'm the one that showed the people that's dealing with these so-called de facto situations. If you put this letter in everything, they will leave you the hell alone. So then it says, sent December the 1st, 2019 via United States Postal Service. Pause. Why is it noted United States Postal Service? That's one of the biggest corporations and the most powerful corporation that you can ever deal with. So while you mailing your letters regularly, that's the corporation way. But if you're indigenous, if you are a Moor, or if you are a true American Indian and not a Native American, you go get that certified number. And I ain't talking about the green seal. I'm talking about the red and white. The one that costs $16.75. And you keep that number and you can use it for the rest of your life. That will be your personal certified mail number. See, they don't teach y'all this. They just tell y'all, oh, just go and try to open up a channel and just talk about anything. Maybe they'll come and talk to you and stuff like this and maybe you don't know, but yeah. Don't listen to people. Just come to the corporation and let us do stuff. Why? That certified mail number will keep you out of jail. if you use it right. But if you use it wrong, I don't know what's wrong with my computer. If you use it wrong, it can easily put you in jail because you don't know what you're doing. And at that point, you will become a sovereign citizen. So why I take being called a sovereign citizen so personal? Because you ain't going to undermine the work that I did. You ain't going to undermine in the work that the nights I set up and studied this. And before I went down that rabbit hole and reclaimed my birthright. Oh, we going to get to Diddy, y'all. Just hold on. So then it says, to whomever, United States, all caps, business entity this may concern, who commercially operates on the United States public markets and accepts and or exchanges in United States what currency, not money, but currency, while providing goods and or services to U.S. customers, consumers, and everyday what? Commerce. So somebody asked me a question, Dana, why is R. Kelly still locked up? Because R. Kelly is property of the United States. Don Russell tried to throw a little bit out there, and I put it out there. If you keep using it, you're going to go to jail because you're using it properly. And you see stopped. So then it says the above mentioned U.S. federal public person. What? The above mentioned U.S. U.S. all caps mean United States federal public person has a prepaid non-obligatory commercial debt obligation arrangement with the United States in relation to 12 U.S.C., which is code 95A, regulation of transactions and foreign exchange of gold and silver, property transfers, vested interests, enforcement and penalties, part 2, and other public policy on what? U.S. debt, which means what? You are brought and paid for. Ladies, what y'all don't know is when y'all get that affidavit, and the first thing y'all say is, I want to get a social security card and a birth certificate. My question will be why? It takes 2 weeks to get a social security card and a birth certificate, right? Watch this. It takes 5 days for them to strip you and force you to sign over your offspring to make your offspring a child. At that point, your child becomes property of the government and of the state. If you think I'm lying, listen. Your business entity is federally bound to United States and U.S. public debt obligations by way of your Internal Revenue Service employer identification number, which is what? Your EIN. So when they give you an EIN when you go to your job, don't you got to furnish what? Your social security number first? I dare you to go start a job and tell them you don't have a social security number. They're going to tell you don't come back. Why? Because they don't want to pay the taxes that you're supposed to pay for them. And I'm going this route to show you why it's so important to know what the ham sandwich is going on. Then it says the IRS being under the U.S. Department of the Treasury and your Federal Reserve business bank account. Pause. How many people knew they had a Federal Reserve business bank account? So when y'all hear me talk about, a private bank or the secret account, this is what I'm talking about. Your Federal Reserve business bank account. You are a trillionaire, but they ain't gonna tell you that. And if you try to access it, they're going to give you hell. If you finally access it, they're going to unalive you and get you out of here. You ain't supposed to know the truth. You're supposed to be ignorant, stupid, dumb, deaf, and retarded and sit there and let them treat you how they want to treat you. I be damned. So then it says your business is hereby ordered to itemize whatever and however commercial products and or services in which the above U.S. federal public person wishes to commercially acquire. Adjust the bottom line total cost amount to 0 and release the items. Wait a minute. Is Trump giving you the game? But he's racist. And he's giving you the secrets that every president knew. Only presidents I know that tried to get these secrets that got unalive was JFK and Abraham Lincoln. They don't want you to know about this. Judah, you got to get out of that ideology. You talking about that's how Caucasians and other race of people living off our backs. No. You got to get out that ideology. They're living off the false pretenses of God, not us. Yes, we built this country, but it's the ideology and the pretense that God gave to the people, not just colored folks, not just indigenous folks. If God made everybody in his image and likeness, how can we be racist to the next person just because they are of a Caucasian descent? This is the stuff that people scared of right here. This is the stuff that people scared of. Because this is what they call waking up. Because it also says provide a receipt to the above U.S. federal person by way of its duly authorized representative, Raj Raphael, sujurs, de jure, and proper person, and retain the record of the transaction to settle with what? Your federal tax obligations with the Internal Revenue Service, and the entire overall transaction is only a commercial accounting matter of what the bankrupt United States capitalized owes its true creditors. What is Trump saying to you? The true creditors are you. So I got to ask a question. What up, Prima? What up, Tundra? I got to ask a question. How are you getting a loan and you the creditor? You going in there asking for a loan and they need your permission to turn you into a debtor and you agreeing to it. Why? Why don't they teach this in school? Uh-oh. Because you knowing this in school, you will become what? Too powerful. They never said that my people was going to perish and behind guns and knives and fighting. God said my people going to perish from the lack of knowledge. What about the Federal Credit Union? The Federal Credit Union, they are debtors. They need your signature to pay them the first time. Then they're going to flip it around and make you the creditor. And make you the debtor. And then you got to sign again, which they get paid again. Then when this get sent off to the IRS for them to stamp it, you got to sign again, which they get paid again. And then you paying off whatever loan and you paying them every month in debt notes. So I got a question to ask you. How do you pay a debt with a debt? That part, Prima. How do you pay a debt with a debt? Because if you ever see money on the greenbacks that you get, listen to me. I know you love me and I love you too. And this go for anybody that's listening. If you ever see money on the greenbacks that you get, don't tell nobody. Call me first. I'm going to give you specific instructions. And from that point, you and I are going to split this country half and half. Prima hit it on the head. When a person don't know, you're still a slave. You act like you're free when you're still a slave. So when I see people talking about, oh, the government, man, the government shut down, this and this and this, I got a question to ask you. How do it benefit you? Oh, I get money. You get money from the government? Oh, you do? Really? How much money you get from the government? Shoo. My income tax check be like $16,000. No disrespect, Mr. or Mrs. Stupid Person. But if you're getting $16,000, you best to believe they're getting about $90 million from you. So who's winning and who's really losing? They get 90 million real funds and gold and silver. You get 90 million greenbacks that they can shut off at any given time and then incarcerate you because you have too much of it. So who's winning, stupid? Fool? Who's winning? So it says, I said that part, but okay, I'm starting back there. And retain the record of transaction to settle with your federal tax obligations with Internal Revenue Service, as the entire overall transaction is only a commercial accounting matter of what the bankrupt United States owes its true creditors, which is the American people, and direct relation to the borrowed gold and National Banking Emergency Act of what? 1933. All commercial public debt obligations while transacting all businesses within the United States commercial markets belong to the United States, as the United States is the true obligor in each and every U.S. commercial transaction. Pause. I got a question. If all commercial markets and all commercial businesses within the United States, all capital letters, if they belong to the United States, why are you paying anything? Oh, let me help you. Because you let them transform you into a corporation. How did that happen, Dana? Well, when you look at your mail, don't it says your name in all capital letters? Yeah, it do say my name in all capital letters. Fool, that's not you. That's not you, fool. Well, it says my name on it, Dana, so it gotta be me. No, it's not you. That's somebody that was created in your likeness, in your image. But you gotta pay for what they done. Why? Because it's called the birth certificate. So when then it says any willful dishonoring and or non-settlement of United States commercial public debt obligational matters by any duly bound commercial business entity within the United States. Now look how the United States is spelled now in its proper form, will result in federal prosecution to the fullest extent possibly. Signed, and sincerely, Donald J. Trump. Signed, Donald J. Trump. So then it says President Chief Executive Officer of the United States, which he's telling you that he's the president and the chief executive office of the corporation, not the country. Which lets you know that we living in two separate jurisdictions. For anybody that want the other half of it, here's the truth right here. If you want me to blow it up a little more, I'll blow it up for you a little more. Debtor's name, United States Corporation Company, the EIN 13-6148455, the DUNS number 089053399, agents, subsidiaries, accessories, assignees. They filed bankruptcy. And look who was owned by China Teletech. Ooh. So when people get mad about Trump doing certain things, because Trump know this already. Trump know that already. If you think I'm lying, here you go again. Alleged debtor, United States Corporation Company. The address, 1201 Hayes Street, Tallahassee, Florida. So if that's the case, what make DC so popular? Now we're going to crack some skulls. What make DC so popular? Because that's where the Queen Elizabeth and Prince Andrew and all of them, they settled their folks there, right outside of Baltimore. And that's where they surrendered at. Not the Queen and them, but the U.S. They surrendered right there to the British rule, which is United States Corporation Company, DBA, mean doing business as Corporation Service Company, DBA, CIS, Coastal Internation Security, SEE, Security Inc., DBA, China Tech Holding, DBA, China Telecom America Corporation, DBA, Fifth Florida Living Options. So the UK and so the UK, which is England, and China has been running roughshod on the US for years. And when Trump says something about it, he'd be like, no, Trump don't know what he's talking about. Well, here you go right here. Petitioning creditor, highly favored Shekinah L. DBA, Moore Science Temple of America. DBA, Court of Equity and Truth. Which means what? The Moors were the only one that had the balls to take the corporation of the United States to court. And like I tell y'all, Israel. Everybody wondering why I started going off on Israel. Because Israel is the new blackmail evil. And you're going to see what I'm talking about later. But here's a graph, right? The foreign government versus the sovereign government. And I ain't going to read it all tonight because, we got to speed through this real quick because I still got to get to some stuff. I want y'all to look at that. Screenshot it. And take it to whatever lawyer y'all deal with, right? And ask that lawyer, is there any fact in that? And watch what the lawyer tell you. Where'd you get this from? Where'd you get this from? So before I go into my next video, I got to say this. You probably noticed Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform. No pre-rolls, no interruptions. Just the content you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off an annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO at checkout. That's rumble.com /premium. Promo code STUDIO, STUDIO. No ads, more freedom, and content you actually care about. That's the deal. Now go get your Rumble account. Ditch YouTube. Go get your Rumble account and pay that premium and come watch commercial-free ads on the Dana J Show. Okay? Thank you so much. I had to get that out. Now we're going to get to the video. The video that I wanted y'all to see. So for everybody that say that the Republicans have shut down the Congress and the government and stuff like this, let's listen to the truth. Okay? Let's go.
It looks like we're going to have a shutdown. We can't pass a budget. We can't keep government open just with Republican votes here in the Senate. We only have 53 Republicans. We need 7 Democrats to join with us. So for my Democratic colleagues to say, well, the Republicans are in charge and they don't need us, they know that's not accurate. This shutdown, in terms of policy, makes absolutely no sense. None. What we have proposed to our Democratic colleagues and the minority leader, Senator Schumer, is to make no changes to the current budget. We just want to continue the current budget and keep government open until just before Thanksgiving to give us more time to negotiate a permanent budget. We did that many times when President Biden was president and when the Democrats had the majority. In fact, we did it 13 times. What the Democrats are saying to us is that we're going to close government unless you Republicans agree to make it bigger. We don't want the status quo. We want you to commit to spending $1.5 trillion more than you're spending now. And we, the Democrats are saying, are going to tell you how to spend it. First, they want us to repeal all of the Medicaid reforms that we did in the reconciliation bill. The one big beautiful bill would not reduce Medicaid. In fact, it would go up about 2% every year as a result of our bill. But it would say to people who are on Medicaid, who aren't eligible for Medicaid, that you're not going to get Medicaid anymore. Dual eligibles, people who sign up in Louisiana and Mississippi, that's fraud. Under our bill, they would be thrown off. The Democrats want them put back on. Under our changes in the one big beautiful bill that the Democrats want us to reverse, you would have to satisfy certain income levels to be on Medicaid. The law says if you make too much money, you can't get Medicaid. So our bill, which the Democrats want us to repeal, would say to those people that if you don't meet the income limits, you can't get Medicaid. So that's the first demand of the Democrats. Take out all the reforms that we made to Medicaid in the reconciliation bill and throw them out the window. Number two, they want to extend the Obamacare subsidies. On the non-Medicaid part of Obamacare, we've got, 25 million Americans who are accessing it. And for the most part, about 90% of them are low-income Americans. But the rest are making huge sums of money. Some are making $160,000 a year getting Obamacare subsidized by taxpayers. And that's not the way it was supposed to be. How did we get here? Well, it's simple. During the pandemic, when people were being laid off or losing their jobs or couldn't work, President Biden ran through a bill to enlarge the subsidies. He took the cap off the amount that you needed to earn in order to get Obamacare. And those subsidies at the end of this year are about to run out. Now, the Republicans have said, we'll sit down with our Democratic friends and talk about how to extend them, but we want to reform the program because it's not right that people making $125,000, $150,000, $250,000, $200,000 a year are getting their health insurance subsidized by the federal government. That's bone deep down to the mayor's stupid. But the Democrats, Senator Schumer and his colleagues, have said, no, we will shut government down unless you agree automatically to extend these subsidies, which were passed during the pandemic, after the pandemic is over, permanently. And that's just some of my colleagues' demands. Their demands to keep government open. You stack them here, you could stand on them and paint the ceiling. And that's not much of an exaggeration. This isn't about policy. This shutdown is about politics. Well,
So for the people that sit back and say, oh, it's the Republicans' fault. Well, it was set right there and told you who fault it was. It was, hold on. It was put right there and told to you exactly by the person in Congress who is responsible for it. Now, a lot of people say, let's listen to Judge Joe Brown. Well, let's listen to Judge Joe Brown. The first question is, why do you think black people hate Donald Trump? Let's listen.
People hate Trump so much.
Because they'll believe anything if the right type of white person says this celebrity Negro is somebody you should listen to. So what's going to happen is listen to him, and this person is going to tell you what your instructions are, and you do anything that they tell you to do, and that's what happens. You get this and you believe it. I hear this stuff, white supremacy is behind all, but I'm saying, well, if white supremacy is the evil demon that you're trying to deal with, why are you verbatim quoting me something from these so-called demons that you seem to hate so bad? I ain't doing, well, where do you think that came from? And that's it. See, here's what Trump is. Trump is a masculine man. And for 55 years, America has been trying to destroy masculinity. I saw it in the 60s. You got a cabal that's females that hate that they aren't male. Some females that hate males. First, feminist. Second, lesbian, some of them. The next one, you had weak boys, soy boys, and they hated that they weren't strong men. And you had some gays, not all of them, hated that they weren't normal men because they thought men were about war.
Why do you think black people hate Trump so much?
Because...
Wow. That was enough right there. That was enough for me right there. That was enough for me right there. And for the people who can't put themselves together, right? There was a movie. There was a movie, right? By the name of The Wizard of Oz. And when Dorothy realized that she always had the power, everybody said, you always had the power, my dear. Just had to learn it for yourself. So when the lion didn't have the courage, he always had the courage. He just had to do it for himself. When the scarecrow didn't have a brain, he always had a brain. He had to learn it for himself. When the Tin Can Man couldn't move, he always could move. He had to do it by himself. Listen, if you really knew what Barry Serrato was about, you would talk about him bad too. That's the most divisive man I've ever seen in life. But for the people that don't understand, I'm going to play this for y'all. And y'all know who I'm talking about. So here's the breakdown. Check it out.
Donald Trump and Republicans have shut the government down because they don't want to provide health care to working class Americans.
All right, let's break this down. First off, Donald Trump and the Republicans did not shut down the government. The clean continuing resolution passed in the House. Donald Trump is ready to sign it. Democrats are using the filibuster in the Senate to stop this from happening. The filibuster essentially means that senators can end debate on a topic indefinitely. And in order to break past the filibuster, you need to have 60 votes in the Senate. So Democrats are quite literally causing a shutdown because they want more spending on healthcare. But again, a clean continuing resolution is already passed in the House. Democrats are blocking it in the Senate. When I say clean, it essentially just means that they're going to continue to fund the government at its current levels just to keep the lights on. No policy change is not adding anything, just keeping it clean to keep people paid and keep the government operating. Democrats are saying no to that, and they're trying to use that as leverage to get policy changes because Congress controls the purse. So they're using this continuing resolution as leverage to get what they want. They're trying to jam their policies into a resolution to keep the government running. But now that I've said that, let's go back to what Hakeem Jeffries said again. I addressed the first part. Democrats have essentially stuck a piece of metal in the gears that were turning and are now blaming the gears. But let's get to the second half of what he said.
Donald Trump and Republicans have shut the government down because they don't want to provide health care to working class Americans.
That's a lie. We already addressed how they didn't shut the government down. Second off, he does want health care for working class Americans. They're talking about the cuts over the next 10 years that are happening with Medicaid. Now, mind you, around 90% of people are still expected to be covered. Do you know who the number one target of these cuts are? Able-bodied adults aged 19 through 64 without disabilities, dependents, or other exemptions. They are increasing work requirements for these individuals in order for them to qualify. If you don't have disabilities, children, or any other exemptions, why shouldn't you be working at least 20 to 30 hours a week to contribute to our society? You're just supposed to be able to sit back, not do anything, and then reap the rewards from other people's work? So no, Donald Trump very much wants working class people to be insured. He doesn't want people mooching off the system, and I don't blame him. Also, of our federal budget, about 13% of it goes to just interest on debt. Just for context, Medicare is 14% of our budget. So 13% of our budget is going to interest payments, and that rate is accelerating. So the government has to do something to get this interest under control. If they don't get interest payments under control, our government will spend more and more money on interest payments, and we won't have money for all these entitlement programs or our defense. So the government has to figure out a way to take on less debt and having more money to take on interest payments. The money has to come from somewhere. They're looking after the financial health of our nation. Don't forget about my Substack. It's a free email newsletter. I give you morning updates here and things like this in more detail. The link.
Wow.
Donald Trump.
Wow. So there you have the facts. There you have the truth. No need to argue with people, especially when the truth is there. Right? Now, and I'm gonna go here. I told you I was gonna touch on the Diddy thing, right? I got 16 pages of this. And what I'm going to do, because it's 10:51, I'm going to read the first 2 pages today. Tomorrow, we're going to jump in this thing from 2 to 16. Y'all know how we do it. So the first page goes like this: United States of America versus Sean Combs. What I tell y'all, they have to make you a corporation, because a corporation can only do business with what? A corporation. And like I said, nobody is fighting this. Why? Why? It's definitely time for a change, Tundra. So it says, Iran submarinian, United States District Judge. After an 8-week trial, a jury convicted Sean Combs on 2 counts of transporting people for prostitution under the Mann Act, docket number 447. Before the government rested his case, Combs moved for an acquittal under Rule 29. TR 7352, Fed R Crim P29. The court reversed its decision under Rule 29B, and Combs renewed his motion after the verdict. TR 7391, docket 485. He also moved for a new trial under Rule 33, docket number 485, Federal Crim P33A. For the following reasons, both motions are denied. For the following reasons, both motions are denied. Background. The government first included COMBS in September 2024 for violations of the Mann Act for sex trafficking and for racketeering conspiracy, docket number 2. In its third and final indictment, the government's case was built on COMBS' actions beginning in 2004 and continuing over the next 2 decades, docket number 209, 1, 6, 13, and 17. The government alleged that Combs arranged for and paid men to travel across the United States and internationally to have sex with Combs' girlfriends, Cassie Ventura and Jane, 12, 18, and 20. Further, the government alleged that Combs transported Ventura and Jane to have sex with those men, gave them illegal drugs, and physically abused them. This, the government argued, was all the product of the Combs enterprise, a criminal organization comprised of Combs, his businesses, and his employees. ID 7 and 11. On the government's telling, the organization existed for lots of reasons, not only to run a global business in the media, entertainment, and lifestyle industries, but also to fulfill the personal desires of Combs, particularly those related to Combs. S. Gratification. Capitalization altered. The case went to trial. After the government rested, Combs moved for acquittal. TR 7352. That motion focused mostly on racketeering and sex trafficking, but also contested the Mann Act charges, TR 7352-91. With respect to the Mann Act, Combs argued that the escorts who testified didn't travel across state lines, that they disavowed that they were paid for sex or engaged in prostitution, and that they sometimes were paid even when they didn't have sex, TR 7390-91. The court withheld its decision, and the charges went to jury, TR 7391. The jury agreed with Combs about the sex trafficking and racketeering charges, acquitting him on both, docket number 447, but it disagreed with Combs about the Mann Act, finding him guilty. Combs now renews his Rule 29 motion and also moves for a new trial under Rule 33. Docket 485, Federal Crim P29C133A. Legal standards. On the defendant's motion, a court must enter a judgment of acquittal of any offense for which the evidence is insufficient to sustain a conviction. Federal Crim P29A. Evidence is insufficient to sustain a conviction only if it is non-existent or so meager that no responsible jury could find guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. United States versus Cutie case law. As the Second Circuit has explained, a defendant challenging the sufficiency of the evidence bears a heavy burden because the reviewing court is required to draw all permissible inferences in favor of the government and resolve all issues of credibility in favor of the jury verdict. United States versus Kozinski case law. Under Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 33, upon the defendant's motion, the court may vacate any judgment and grant a new trial if the interest of justices so requires. Federal Crim P33A. Generally, the trial court has broader discretion to grant a new trial under Rule 33 than to grant a motion for acquittal under Rule 29. But it nonetheless must exercise the Rule 33 authority sparingly and in its most extraordinary circumstances. United States versus Ferguson case law. Quoting United States versus Sanchez case law. In the exercise of its discretion, the court may weigh the evidence and credibility of witnesses. At the same time, the court may not wholly absurd the jury's role. United States versus Autori case law. The defendant bears the burden of proving that he is entitled to a new trial under Rule 33. And before ordering a new trial pursuant to Rule 33, a district court must find that there is a real concern that an innocent person may have been convicted. United States versus McCourty case law. Quoting Ferguson case law. Accordingly, the court must examine the entire case, take into account all facts and circumstances, and make an objective evaluation, keeping in mind that the ultimate test for such a motion is whether letting a guilty verdict stand would be a manifest injustice. United States versus Landsman case law. Quoting United States versus Alston case law. Then it says the discussion. Combs makes two types of arguments under Rule 21. Legal ones about the correct definition of prostitution and factual ones about the evidence at trial. On Rule 33, he argues that the evidence on the acquitted counts prejudiced the jury on the counts of conviction. Rule 29 legal arguments. The legal arguments in Combs' Rule 29 motion turn on what the word prostitution means in the Mann Act. The Act has two clauses. Both share the same Act element. Transporting somebody in interstate or foreign commerce, 18 U.S.C. 2421A. But they have different intent requirements. The first clause, the one at issue here, requires that the defendant intend that the transported person engage in prostitution, ID. The second clause, a broader catch-all, requires that the defendant intend for the transported person to engage in any sexual activity for which any person can be charged with a criminal offense, ID. Together, they read, whoever knowingly transports any individual in interstate in foreign commerce or in any territory or possession of the United States. Hold on. Now they saying the country and not the corporation. With intent that such individual engage in prostitution or in any sexual activity for which any person can be charged with a criminal offense, ID. At trial, Combs proposed that the jury instructions define prostitution as engaging in sexual activity for money or its equivalent. Docket number 273 at 56, citing Black Law's Dictionary, which is the dictionary I told everybody about, and state law definitions, which I told y'all that and the Webster Dictionary do not define nothing that goes on in the courts because they go by Black Law Dictionary. The court adopted Combs' definition in its instructions to the jury, which proceeded to convict Combs under that definition. Dockets 424 at 49. Jury charge, 447, verdict. Then Combs changed his mind. Now he argues that his proposed definition was wrong all along. Docket number 486 at 25 to 37. Prostitution, he says, instead requires either that the defendant have a commercial motive, that the buyer has sex with the seller, or both. ID at 25, that would mean that there was never any prostitution involving Combs, who lacked a financial motive and didn't directly have sex with any of the men he hired. Oh. Whoa, I wasn't ready for that one. So they actually are saying that Diddy had sex with men now. Ooh. On this telling, applying On his telling, applying a broader definition would create constitutional problems. These arguments don't hold water for the reasons below. Listen, we going to pick up on A tomorrow. It's 11:03. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Be someone important. Be yourself. And remember, tomorrow at 6:30 p.m., we jumping into it. We jumping into it, okay? We are jumping into it. And I'm going to read the rest of it all the way through because that kind of threw me off for a minute. Like, yo, now they saying that Diddy having sex with men? Ooh, it's kind of crazy. Oh. But look, I've been on here for a whole hour and 50 minutes. I see y'all tomorrow. And once again, go support Prima Donna Pastries. And also pay attention to what Prima Donna putting up on her YouTube channel. I told Prima Donna, go get a Rumble channel. And I mean, put everything on Rumble too. But hey, y'all know how that go. Thank y'all for joining me. We'll be back tomorrow night. And I'm up out of here. Peace. Once again, thank y'all for joining me. I'm up out of here. About to get gone. Y'all be blessed. Peace.
Sometimes a misty rain that gently touches my soul. Feels just like fire shut up in me. Yeah, simply lose control. Oh, rain down, follow me. Let your love just fall like raindrops, rain. Follow me. Oh, rain down, follow me. Let your love just fall like raindrops, rain. Follow me.
Oh, yeah. Let me say it again. Out of all I've been through, I'm still here. Said I've been lied on, mistreated, talked about and abused, but I'm still here. Many days I thought I was gonna lose my mind, but I'm still by the grace. I'm gonna say it one more time. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna say it again. Lost a lot of people and lost a lot of things, but I'm still here. Somebody can testify and tell somebody. Many people turned their back on me and walked away, but I'm still here. Oh, Jesus, can I be honest today? Life ain't really been easy, but God's been good, and that's why I'm still here. Oh, it's by the grace. Let's go, y'all. Let's go. I'm still it's by the grace. Can I get me a witness? I'm still here. Oh, Jesus. It's by the grace. Said I know that I'm still
Said I know that I'm still. Woo! Every now and then, when I look back over my life,